Welcome. Today we travel back to the 5th century BC to a time of upheaval for the Jewish people. After years of exile in Babylon, some Jews returned to Jerusalem only to find their city in ruins, its walls broken, its gates burned. The book of Nehemiah is a personal memoir chronicling one man's response to this devastation. Nehemiah, far from Jerusalem but deeply moved, becomes the catalyst for a movement to rebuild not just walls, but a nation's spirit. This is a story of faith, leadership, and the power of one person's conviction to inspire hope in the darkest times. Nehemiah wasn't a king or prophet, he was a cupbearer in the Persian court, trusted by King Artaxerxes. Despite his privileged life, Nehemiah's heart remained with his people. When he heard of Jerusalem's ruin, he was overwhelmed with grief. He wept, fasted, and prayed. His empathy and faith defined him. His comfortable life hadn't dulled his sense of responsibility. Nehemiah's leadership was rooted in compassion and careful planning. He spent months in prayer, seeking guidance before taking action. He was a servant leader willing to risk everything to restore his people's future. Nehemiah's brother brought grim news. Jerusalem's walls were broken, its people disgraced. Nehemiah's response was deep mourning and fervent prayer. He confessed his people's failings, taking responsibility and seeking God's mercy. His prayer was honest and bold. He reminded God of his promises and asked for favor with the king. Nehemiah knew that only with divine help and royal approval could he hope to act. His grief became resolve. His prayer became a plan. He was ready to step out in faith, trusting God to open the way. The stage was set for a bold request. Months passed before Nehemiah's chance came. The king noticed his sadness, a risky moment for any servant. Nehemiah bravely explained his sorrow for Jerusalem. When asked what he wanted, Nehemiah prayed silently, then requested permission to rebuild the city. The king granted his request, providing letters for safe passage and resources for the project. Nehemiah's preparation paid off. He had a plan and the king's support. With royal backing and a sense of divine mission, Nehemiah left his comfortable post for a dangerous journey to a ruined city. The real challenge was just beginning. Arriving in Jerusalem, Nehemiah kept his mission secret. For 3 days he observed quietly, understanding the need for caution. At night, he inspected the ruined walls with a few trusted men, seeing the devastation firsthand. This secret survey gave him clarity and resolve. Only after grasping the full challenge did he gather the city's leaders. He spoke as one who shared their disgrace, ready to lead from within. Nehemiah's careful approach built trust and set the stage for action. Nehemiah, a man of unwavering faith and strategic vision, understood that the restoration of Jerusalem began not with bricks and mortar, but with the hearts of its people. He knew he had to reignite their spirit, reminding them of their heritage and the promise of a brighter future. He rallied the people, sharing the vision, a vision of a secure and thriving Jerusalem, a beacon of hope in a troubled world. With a voice filled with conviction, Nehemiah declared, "Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem." These words were more than just a call to action. They were an invitation to participate in something greater than themselves, to reclaim their identity and their destiny. Nehemiah wasn't just giving orders from afar. He understood the importance of leading by example. He included himself in their struggle, working shoulder to shoulder with the people, sharing their burdens and inspiring them with his tireless dedication. The shame and despair that had weighed them down for so long began to lift as they worked together side by side. Nehemiah was transforming shame into shared purpose, forging a bond of unity that would prove unbreakable. But Nehemiah knew that their strength came not just from their own efforts, but from a higher power. He told them of God's favor, reminding them of his promises and his unwavering love. He also shared the news of the king's support, a tangible sign of hope and encouragement. This royal endorsement ignited hope, fueling their determination to overcome the challenges that lay ahead. The people, inspired by Nehemiah's leadership and the promise of divine favor, responded. With a unified voice filled with newfound resolve, they declared, "Let us rise up and build." This was not just a statement of intent, it was a declaration of their commitment to rebuild their city and their lives. United in purpose, they organized the work, carefully planning each step of the reconstruction process to ensure efficiency and effectiveness. Entire families, young and old, stepped forward to contribute their skills and labor. Priests, the spiritual leaders of the community, also joined in the effort, demonstrating that no one was exempt from the task at hand. Even merchants, accustomed to the marketplace, traded their goods for tools and lent their hands to the construction. And even daughters, defying societal norms, took part, proving that everyone had a role to play in rebuilding their city. Each worked on the section nearest their home, fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility for their immediate surroundings. This personal connection to the work transformed it from a mere task into a labor of love, making the task personal. The entire community became builders, united by a common purpose and a shared vision for the future. Their hands, once idle with despair, were now strengthened by a common goal, working tirelessly to rebuild their city. Nehemiah's leadership turned despair into determination, igniting a fire of hope that burned brightly within each and every one of them. The wall's reconstruction was more than just a physical accomplishment. It was a testament to the power of unity, shared vision, and unwavering faith. Together, brick by brick, they began to restore not only the walls of Jerusalem, but also their community, their hope, and their faith, restoring what was lost. As the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls commenced, it was not long before opposition began to surface. The task was monumental, and the stakes were incredibly high. The news of their progress had reached those who sought to keep Jerusalem vulnerable, and they were not pleased. This opposition came swiftly and fiercely from local governors, Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, men who held positions of power and influence in the surrounding regions. They saw the rebuilt walls as a direct threat to their own authority and a challenge to their established order. These adversaries mocked and threatened the builders relentlessly, attempting to demoralize them and halt the construction. Their words were like arrows, aimed to wound the spirit and break the will of those who dared to rebuild what had been broken. They spread rumors, sowed seeds of doubt, and even hinted at violence. Their ridicule was carefully designed to demoralize the workers, to make them question their purpose and their ability to complete the task. The constant barrage of negativity took its toll, and the builders began to feel the weight of the opposition. But Nehemiah, a man of unwavering faith, responded with prayer and a deep trust in God's plan. He understood that the battle was not just against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces that sought to thwart God's purposes. He turned to God for strength, guidance, and protection. With unwavering conviction, Nehemiah declared, "The God of heaven will give us success." This was not just a statement of hope, but a declaration of faith, a firm belief that God was with them and would see them through. As the threats escalated from mere words to the looming possibility of violence, the situation became increasingly precarious. The enemies of Jerusalem were not content with verbal attacks. They were ready to resort to physical force to stop the rebuilding. Understandably, fear began to spread among the people. The builders were not soldiers, and the thought of facing armed opposition was terrifying. Doubt crept in, and the temptation to abandon the project grew stronger. Recognizing the imminent danger, Nehemiah acted decisively. He set guards at strategic points along the wall, armed the workers with swords, spears, and bows, and put in place a system of alerts to warn of any impending attack. But Nehemiah knew that physical defense alone was not enough. He needed to bolster the people's spirits and remind them of what they were fighting for, so he encouraged them with powerful words of hope and determination. He rallied them, saying, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes." In a remarkable display of courage and resilience, the builders continued their work, with one hand holding a tool and the other gripping a weapon. They were determined to build even in the face of constant danger. This image of builders working with tools in one hand and weapons in the other became a powerful symbol of their unwavering resolve. It demonstrated their commitment to both building and defending their city. Nehemiah's strategic blend of unwavering faith, fervent prayer, and practical defense measures proved to be a winning combination, keeping the vital project moving forward despite the intense opposition. As the people witnessed their leader's unwavering confidence and determination, their own courage grew. They were inspired by his example and emboldened to continue the work, knowing that they were not alone. The builders faced constant external threats from their enemies, and they also battled internal exhaustion from the demanding work. The pressure was immense, and the temptation to give up was ever present, but despite the challenges, the people remained united in their purpose. They supported each other, encouraged each other, and worked together to overcome every obstacle. Unity became their strength. Slowly but surely, the wall rose stone by stone, a testament to their perseverance and dedication. Each stone represented a victory over fear, doubt, and opposition. The construction continued, despite the relentless opposition from those who sought to see Jerusalem remain vulnerable. The enemies never ceased their attempts to disrupt and discourage the builders. Nehemiah's exceptional leadership played a pivotal role in transforming the people's fear into fortitude. He inspired them to rise above their anxieties and embrace the challenge with courage and determination. With unwavering resolve, the people pressed on, determined to finish what they had begun. They were driven by a deep sense of purpose and a commitment to rebuilding their city and restoring its glory. The wall was finished in just 52 days. A stunning achievement. Enemies were silenced, recognizing God's hand in the work. Nehemiah addressed internal injustice, ensuring fairness among the people. With the city secure, spiritual renewal followed. Ezra read the law to the gathered people, sparking repentance and rededication. Nehemiah urged them to celebrate. The joy of the Lord is your strength. The people rejoiced, committing to live by God's law. The rebuilt wall marked not just physical security, but a new beginning for the community. Nehemiah's story is a timeless lesson, echoing through the ages to resonate with us today. It's a narrative not just of bricks and mortar, but of the human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity and rebuild what has been broken. It's a lesson in leadership, demonstrating the power of vision and the importance of integrity. It's a lesson in unity, showing how a common purpose can bind people together, transcending individual differences. And above all, it's a lesson in hope, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, a brighter future is always possible. True leadership starts with compassion, a genuine concern for the well-being of others. It's about understanding their struggles, empathizing with their pain, and inspiring them to believe in a better tomorrow. And it is fueled by prayer, seeking divine guidance and strength and practical wisdom, making sound decisions based on careful consideration and understanding of the situation at hand. It's a blend of faith and reason, working in harmony to achieve a common goal. The wall was built not by a single individual, but by a community united in purpose, each member contributing their unique skills and talents to the collective effort. Every stone laid, every beam raised, every act of service mattered. Each person's effort, no matter how small, contributed to the overall success of the project. It highlights the significance of individual contribution to a shared vision. Even in the face of ridicule, doubt and fear, when enemies sought to undermine their efforts and discourage their hearts, faith in a higher power and unwavering perseverance in the face of adversity ultimately led to victory. It's a testament to the power of resilience and the importance of staying true to one's convictions. Nehemiah's journey challenges us to look around and identify what needs to be rebuilt, to assess the damage and begin the process of restoration, to rebuild what is broken not only in our own lives, the personal struggles and challenges we face, but also in our communities, the social and systemic issues that plague our society. We are called to act, not just observe from the sidelines, to be active participants in the process of change, to pray for guidance, plan strategically and work diligently towards the restoration of all that is broken, towards a future filled with hope and promise. With unwavering faith in the power of good and a spirit of unity, working together towards a common goal, Even the most daunting ruins, the seemingly insurmountable challenges, can be rebuilt, transformed into something beautiful and strong. Thank you for joining us on this inspiring journey through the timeless story of Nehemiah. May Nehemiah's story ignite a fire within you, inspiring you to rise above your circumstances, embrace the challenges ahead, and build a better future for yourself and for generations to come.